All right, good morning. Welcome to the 294th District Court. My name is Judge Smart. I'm going to call this morning's criminal docket. When you hear your name, please say present or here. Misty Backus. Gregory Bieber. Here. Robert Campbell. Here. Calvin Kritz. Calvin Jean Kritz. Tammy Crocker. Here. David Dixon. Here. Paul Fairchild. Here. Stephanie Goss. Stephanie Lynn Goss. Rebecca Hunter. Here. Tracy Lane Jacob, CR 23-100, set for arraignment. Mr. White filed a waiver that was approved and pre-trial is set August 22nd. Neil Jones. Neil Justin Jones. Matthew Kearns. Amber Morphus. James O'Brien. Ashley Olds. Chester Perry. Lena Price. David Reed. Lonnie Roberts. Jacole Sampson. Lane Swanson. Xavier Trejo. Royce White. Okay, we'll recall it just a bit. Pedro Cespedes. Pedro Luis Cespedes.
I think he's in custody, just he has been. Yeah, that kind of order.
Janice Fina. Colton Green. Colton Castle Green. Petrell Hickerson. Petrell Shamichael Hickerson. Jose Sanchez. Thank you, Mr. Harrison. Mr. Harrison, we're going to call your case first. Is that an interpreter of the OCA?
Yes, we're right on page. That's it. He's prepared.
Okay. I think we only have that interpreter for about 30-minute period, so.
Okay, it's great.
So I'll let y'all know if it's not done in 30 minutes. We're probably gonna lose that interpreter. Okay. All right, do we have any attorneys that are ready? Right, great. Yes. Who you ready? Crispino. CR 21, 113, 114, and 115. What's the announcement, Mr. White?
Your Honor, we're going to need to have this department on its.
Yes, sir. All right, the court is resetting Mr. Spino for docket call on October 12th. That'll be at 9 AM. Mr. Spino, once you get your yellow notice of appearance, you're free to go. Thank you. Is that all you have, Mr. White? Please, sir. Thank you, sir. We have any other attorneys that are ready? Mr. Harrison, do you have someone that's going to be able to translate the information, the information to your client? Already there, just want to make sure. Good morning. Can you see and hear me okay?
Yes, Judge, can you see and hear me as well?
Yes, ma'am, I can. Remind me, is it Beal or Bell?
Beal.
Beal, okay. All right, Ms. Beal, I believe that the claimant that should be interpreted for this morning is going to be taking some plea agreement. I believe they're working on paperwork right now, so it may be a few minutes. Get ready.
Okay, I'll stand by.
Thank you. And I have you scheduled until what time?
Till 9:45.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think we can start going on it right.
Okay.
All right, thank you. And all right, Misty Backus. All right, Ms. Backus, I believe this is your first time in sanctions court, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, so there's some issues that have been brought to my attention. The probation department indicates that you've not taken your drug offender education course. You've not had your evaluation, not worked
had mine.
not worked community service, you're delinquent in your probation fees, you're delinquent in your court, so I'm just telling you what's being reported. Okay, so tell me about that.
I got 6 hours yesterday. I completed my drug evaluation. I have my classes set up for August the 11th. And the reason why I haven't done any community service is because I know you hear this all the time. I haven't had a ride. My mother died a year ago on Easter, and I finally was awarded her car. I haven't been driving it because I have no registration, which I can't get without her death certificate. And there's so many things that are blocking me. But I did get 6 hours yesterday, and I did the drug evaluation, and my classes are set up or scheduled. And I pay as much as I can on my core costs and everything.
You understand you're on deferred adjudication until April of 2025, and because of your delinquencies, all of the monthly requirements that you faced previously have increased in order for you to discharge on time. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
For everything that you didn't pay in the past, it's going to compound. And now you're, instead of paying, $60, for probation, now you got to pay $65 instead of whatever you were paying to your court costs and collections. That's up to $115 a month. Instead of doing 10 hours of service a month, now you're looking at 24 hours of service. I understand your life issues, but this is going to be another issue that you're going to have to deal with. And this issue here, if not resolved, is going to definitely have a detrimental impact on you. You know what I'm telling you?
Yes, sir.
If you don't put this as a priority to take care of it, then all of your other things you're going to have to wait until you get out of jail or prison.
Yes, sir.
See what I'm telling you? So the purpose of sanctions court is to try to get you back into compliance. It's not to punish you. It's in fact it's designed to do the opposite of that. It's designed to keep you from going to prison. And you're facing state jail, range of punishment, 6 months to 2 years, day for day prison.
Yes, sir.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reset you till the end of August. I'm gonna give you 3 things that I need you to do. If you don't get those done, we'll have a different conversation on that day, okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'll get it. All right, Mr. Bowden, there's 3 things you need to do. I'm gonna have you come back on August 8th. You're gonna pay $65 for probation, $115 for court collections. You need to work 24 hours of community service. All right, you can start accomplishing these things, and then I'll let you out of sanctions court, and I'll put you back on regular probation, so you can handle your business. That, but you need to get those things done. A week before you come forward, don't come and say, well, I got this turned in yesterday, I did it yesterday. Yesterday, late.
Yes, sir.
Get these things done at least by noon the Friday, so that all the paperwork, the process, all the requirements, and reports that you're doing. So.
Yes, sir.
Lena Price. This is CR 21 actually sanctions court hearing for Mr. Maria Price. Ms. Price, it looks like you did everything that I asked you to.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You paid probation, you paid your collections, you did your community service. Where'd you do your community service at?
First Monday.
First thing. Get the minimum done, or did you do more?
I got just a minimum done. I'm trying to do more, but trying to find other places.
Is that gonna be your plan again for next month?
Yes, sir.
Price, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set you again for August 8th. We're gonna do the same thing we did last month, 16 to probation, 65 to court elections. 10 hours community service. You do this for a few months, I know it's probation. Long. They're gonna say, get her out of sanction court and with their business, she's back on the straight and narrow, what's the other coach? Just a lot of new business. So keep that up, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Sir. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. This is cause number CR 22-227, State of Texas versus Nicole Monique Sampson. Ms. Sampson, it appears that you've been indicted on a state jail felony offense of hindering a secured creditor greater than $2,500 but less than $30,000. That carries a range of punishment of not less than 6 months in prison and a sentence of not more than 2 years in prison if you were to be convicted of that offense. Have you hired an attorney? Have you requested a court appointed attorney? Are you wanting to represent yourself? I am planning to get insurance.
I have not hired an attorney, so I'm disappointed.
If you have the ability to hire,
I just started a new job.
okay, so if you want a court appointed attorney, you have to fill out the paperwork. Okay, so you'll need to go out and sit in the hallway, on my staff member come to you in just a moment to fill out all that paperwork.
Okay.
If you don't meet the agency requirements, then you have to represent yourself or hire an attorney. We'll talk about that if we need to. Okay? All right, go ahead, have a seat, Paul. All right, this is cause number CR 21-398, CR 22-51, State of Texas versus Royce. Let's see, why are we entering into a plea agreement today?
Yes, we are not.
Sounds like I'm gonna recall this case, give y'all a chance to make an announcement that reconciles, so.
Let me say, Your Honor,
That's
so
okay, it's okay, I'm gonna recall you in just a minute. You talk on this, Curry, that way we're all on the same page.
okay, thank
Call
you.
you. Xavier Trejo, CR 2378. All right, we're set today on arraignment and your final hearing on whether you hired an attorney. Give me some good news.
Good evidence, the original one was gonna take too long, so that couldn't be an option for me. My grandma's been at the tax office this past 2 days to get my recently deceased grandpa's name off of her title. take his name off the car title, so she can help me and get a title loan. And to hire Jonathan Manning. I recently spoke to Jonathan Manning too, and even he told me if I paid him still before the state, he wouldn't have made it. At the state, it was, I guess the schedule's too busy at the state. And I would need just a final, I would just need one last extension, just two weeks. By today or tomorrow, I would have hired Jonathan Manning. I would get this title loan from my grandma.
You say you could have it done today.
Yes, I hope to get it done by either today or tomorrow, depending on how long we get through the process of getting my grandma's name off her. Part-time.
Have y'all even started working on that?
Yes, we did that all yesterday, and we have the right forms. We will continue. It should be done. Once I've done it from here, I go over there to back to the tax office to get that done and finalized, so my grandma can get the title loan.
I'll tell you what, we'll do this. How about I reset this afternoon? Day work.
This afternoon? What time?
3 o'clock.
Can I have it tomorrow, just in case of something and I don't know.
offer you today. Well, I wrote down here, it's final, this is your third hearing. The only other option is I find your bond insufficient, which I guess right now. Then just reset your case. Why don't you just go work on that and come back at 3 o'clock? Let me know what you've done. Because if you get it done, and you bring me proof of it, then yeah, maybe I'll you guys tomorrow. Whether Mr. Manning can be here or not is not the issue. The issue is if you've retained him, you can always notify the court, yes, Mr. Trejo has hired me. Obviously can't be here today, but that's fine. That's fine, that's hired attorney. We'll set it according to Mr. Manning's schedule, we'll get on the right track. So why don't you come back at 3 o'clock today and tell me what you've got. Okay. spiel. Sorry for keeping you this long. The paperwork is done, but they're gonna need a few minutes, I think, to get it signed up. And I don't think we can get it done in 4 minutes, so what I would like to do is if I can have you at 10:30. And we should be ready.
At 10:30? Okay, I'll put that in.
All right, great, and then we should be ready to go.
Okay, perfect. I'll see you then.
We appreciate it.
All right.
All right, I want everyone who is on sanctions court to give me your attention, especially. I think most everyone that's on sanctions court today is here for the first time. So I want to go ahead, I'm just going to say this once to the group. That way I don't have to repeat it every time you come up, okay? So if you're on sanctions court today, it's your first time on sanctions court, please listen closely. The purpose of sanctions court is not to punish you. You're already on probation, deferred or straight probation. You're already under conditions of community supervision. If you violate any of those, the state of Texas could file a motion to revoke your community supervision, adjudicate your appeal. A number of things could ask the court to conduct a hearing. And if you have violated any of the terms of your community supervision, court could revoke that, put you to jail, put you in prison, could put you on straight probation, do a multitude of things. Purpose of sanctions court is an intervention program. It's a deterrence program. It's a program that was created by the previous judge of this court, Judge Teresa Drum, in hopes that when people are starting to not comply with their conditions, it doesn't automatically mean that motions filed and a possible prison sentence imposed or jail sentence or whatever the case may be. All right, so the purpose of sanctions court is to try to get your attention, intervene, make sure that you understand that if you continue to be non-compliant, that a motion will issue. And sanctions court is usually because people aren't doing community service, they're not taking classes, they're not paying their fees. Somewhat technical violations, right? So it's important that we stay on top of these things so that you can complete your terms of community supervision, so that you can get the government out of your life on the time that you expected them to be out of your life. Okay, so that's going to apply to every one of you that I call back up here today for sanctions court. And I want you to know that if you will start complying with your community supervision, you will satisfy these sanctions. Then once we see that you are in charge of your community supervision, and being diligent about what you're doing, then we will let you out of sanctions court, and you won't have to come up here every month to tell me, Judge, yes, I'm doing what you told me to do. I kind of hope that when you left here the first time, when you said, yes, I agree to probation, and I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do, that you would have done that, but you haven't. That's why you're here today. So the option is either we go through sanctions court and we try to get you put back in the proper lane so that you can complete your probation, or we get off this highway and we get over to the motion to revoke highway. We decide when you're getting off and how long you're gonna go to jail for. Okay, so those are kind of the options. So my purpose for sanctions court is to get your attention and just remind you, non-compliance is going to equal something you don't want. At least I hope you don't want. And we can get you back to where you're supposed to be on your fees, your community service, your classes. You be diligent about it, then I will let you out of sanctions court. You can go back to your regular probation, regular reporting, and not have me interfering with your life, make you miss work or anything else that you're doing. Come up here. All right. So with that said, let me have Gregory Beaver, CR 2287. All right, Mr. Beaver. My notes say that you've not taken your cognitive education, you've not worked your community service, you're delinquent in your probation fees and your court fees.
Those should all be current
They should all be current as of when.
as of this week. That's what, yes.
The problem
I
is,
did take, started that class. I spoke with the gentleman about the community service during the week, because Saturdays are not good.
all this stuff has to be done the week before it's due, right? Can't wait to the last minute to do that. So you're telling me that you were delinquent 80 hours of community service. You're not current on that.
No, I'm not on that.
You're saying you're current on your fees.
Yes, sir.
All right, so you were delinquent $130. You took care of that. And you said that you signed up for your cognitive
Yes,
education.
I'm taking the first class.
So what's your plan for community service?
The cemetery out in Louisville. Doing some projects up there.
Thank you for that. Yeah, that's it. All right, Street, what we're gonna do is we're gonna come back on August 8th. And the three things that I want you to make sure that you get done before the week before is pay your $65 probation, your $100 for collection, have 10 hours of community service work, okay? All right, I'll have you sign this and we need a yellow copy, you'll have all that.
Thanks for the honor.
Robert Campbell. Sanctions Court CR 19-108. CR 19-108. All right, Mr. Campbell, you're here because you've not registered for your batter's intervention program. You're delinquent on your community service. And you're delinquent in your probation and court fees. You've been on probation since 2019, right?
Yes, sir.
You're 440 hours. Actually, it says you worked 0 community service, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Since 2019.
Well, I just did about 6 months
I just got back out of jail. I have a letter from a hospice. I've been taking care of my father, 88 years old. It'll give you a description of what I'm doing. And we're hoping to get that.
Has that been since 2019?
No, sir, that's just current.
Okay, well, let's go back to 2019. You've been on
Okay.
probation since 2019. You said you just got out of jail. When did you go to jail?
January 28th of last year. I got out 26th of this year, January 26th.
So you were in jail from January of 22 to January of 23,
Yes, yes, sir.
12 months. What were you in jail for?
Violation. But I guess the same thing, not doing it yet.
Violation on this community supervision?
No, sir, not on this one, I don't think.
Well, I need you to think.
I'm confused, I don't.
I'm more confused than you are.
Okay.
Tell me what you were in jail for a year.
A violation on this current discharge.
And who put you in jail? I did.
Somebody did, violation, probation violation. Yes,
I'm looking,
For
Your Honor.
1 year.
I wanna say, I think he was picked up in Hunt County for a charge there, which made the probation violation turn into an MTR. And then it was settled that his probation was gonna be continued when he got out in January of 2023.
But he wasn't in on our violation.
He was, yes, he was for a little while.
All right, I'll tell you what, have a seat. You can't walk way back up just a second. Okay? Tammy Crocker. All right, Mr. Crocker, this is cause number CRO 5-63.
Sorry.
It's okay. My records reflect that you got on probation in 2015. For a 10-year probation expiring in 2025 for theft of property, a third-degree felony. Range of punishment 2 years to 10 years. Here's that you've done all of your community service.
Yes, sir.
All of that.
I did my class.
Did your class. It says you're really just delinquent in probation fees and restitution.
Yes, sir.
You had a large restitution. Your judgment, correct?
Yes, sir. Actually, I've been on probation for 18 years now.
How about this charge?
No, it was deferred and they put it back to just regular.
Straight.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about your money, because I'll tell you what my record should reflect based on what you owe and when you're gonna expire. You're set to expire in 2 years, September of 25.
Yes, sir.
And in order for you to expire on time, there's no way to extend you anymore, because you're at the maximum. Is you have to pay $130 every month probation, plus about $1,400 restitution every month. What are you paying right now?
Carolyn asked me to pay $65 every month, but I have a lot of health issues, so I miss a lot of work. Like last month, they found a cyst on my brain, so I'm scheduled to go see a neurologist and see what's going to happen with that.
What have you been paying on your restitution?
I haven't paid anything. I can't afford it.
Nothing at all, not even $50 a month.
I could probably pay $50 a month. Yes, sir.
All right, what I'm gonna do, Ms. Crocker, is I'm gonna bring you back. When is your doctor's appointment?
I have one the 11th and I have one the 14th of this month. I have all kinds of paperwork from where I go to the
That's
doctor.
okay. No, I just wanna make sure I didn't schedule you for a time when you're gonna go in and get checked up on. So I'm gonna set you for August 8th.
I also have a question. I know I owe the restitution, but the man that I owed it to passed away. So,
Still owe it.
Yeah.
That's your question.
yes, sir. And so what will happen if I don't finish paying, which I know I won't, but I'll go to jail?
Tell you what, why don't we do sanctions court for a little while? And then we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Okay?
Okay,
So what I'm gonna order you to do for your sanctions, I want you to pay that $65 a month probation,
yes, sir.
like Ms. Brian told you. And I want you to pay $50 a month on your restitution.
Okay,
Let's do this for a while. Let's see how your medical stuff turns out, and we'll reassess if we need to.
okay,
Alright, well, let's get going on this path in a little while, and then we'll reassess it later. And determine as we get closer to September 2025, what we're gonna do. Okay,
yes, sir.
so the more I can tell you, the more that you comply with your sanctions and do what you're supposed to do, the better it's gonna be for you.
Okay.
David Dixon. All right, this is cause number CR 22-269. State versus David Paul Dixon. Court hearing. Mr. Dixon, you got on probation in January of this year for burglary of buildings, detailed felony, range of punishment, as you know, minimum of 6 months to a maximum of 2 years. Paperwork reflects that you admitted to smoking marijuana in June. You're delinquent on your probation court fees, you're not taking anger management, you're not taking cognitive education.
Just hadn't got started, so I had family problems when I first got out, and then my wife decided she was gonna leave, which left me homeless. So I just got back into a place, found a job, just started working, just got my first paycheck. So guess I start working on everything that I need to get done.
You realize we're in July, right?
Yes,
You got on probation in January,
yes,
so half a year has gone by and you're just now getting started.
yes. Like I said, I run into some hard life the last 8 months.
Didn't keep you from smoking marijuana though, did it?
Tried to ease my pains. Got a few different broken bones that I'm still waiting on surgery for. Can't find doctors to do them.
Were you the one that had a car wreck?
Yes. But the broke bones didn't come from the car wreck. I was jumping on a trampoline with my daughter and broke my elbows, separated my collarbone and separated my shoulder.
All right, this is what I propose, Mr. Dixon. I'll bring you back. Bring you back August 22nd. On the UAU today, okay. I want to amend your community supervision substance abuse evaluation. You're gonna have to pay, I'm gonna write all this, you're gonna have to pay $130 in probation because you're delinquent. You're gonna have to pay $120 in court collections, you're gonna have to do 10 hours community service. Because you smoke marijuana in June, you're gonna have to serve 3 days in jail. On the 3 days, I will let you pick the 3 days, so it doesn't, so you can work it around your work schedule. All right, Mr. Dixon, what I want you to do is sign this yellow one. After that, come over here, meet the probation officer, they're at UAE today. They're gonna give us 3 days. Okay. Sampson. All right, we're back on the record, call over CR 2227, state versus Paul on the Sampson. And Ms. Sampson, you requested court appointed attorney. The court has reviewed your request, finds you to be indigent for purposes of court appointed attorney at this time. The court is appointing the Honorable Jonathan Manning to represent you. I'm going to reset you for arraignment on August 10th. Also going to order you to conditions of pretrial release. This table has got an appearance for you. I want you to sign that. That's gonna have your date on it when you're coming back. After that, I want you to come over here and meet with the pretrial release officers. They're gonna have paperwork for you. You want it out of jail, right? And so with the bond pending a resolution of this charge, are gonna be conditions on that jail.
Okay.
You're gonna have to say drug free, you're gonna have to say drug test, and we have to pay towards supervision by the pretrial police department. You're gonna pay supervision for the attorney, things of that nature, okay, violation of those, could leave the court to revoke the bill and push back.
Okay.
So sign that, we feel a copy, you'll have more information over. All right, Mr. Fairchild, this is cause number CR 11-90. Sanctions court hearing on your third degree felony offense, intoxication, assault, on vehicle, serious bodily injury. Appears that you put on probation 2014. You're set to expire in approximately 1 year. Notice indicate that you're delinquent on your probation fees and your court collection. Looks like you worked all of your community service, got all that done. So it looks like it's just about getting you caught up on probation and court collections. According to the accounting here, it looks like you have to pay $123 every month to the probation department and $46 to court collections every month, just so that you can expire in July. Is that something you can be able to do?
Yes, sir. I was laid off in November. Started a company working for myself, and unfortunately it hasn't worked out as much as I hoped. I just signed an offer letter with a company in Corsicana. I'll be their new supervisor starting Monday.
Okay. I'll tell you what, we'll come back on August. Let's do August 10. Are they aware that you have to be here? Certain constantly.
Um,
Is it?
my shift is from 6 to 11:30.
But starting the day of hire, I have PTO time. So if I need to be here for sanctions court, I'll use PTO days. And for reporting, I need session from the afternoons. They do know I'm on probation. That was something I disclosed. Also, they've already done my background check.
That's a good thing. I don't want to interfere with the job. Okay, you know, I'm asking you to pay fees to keep you current, and I don't want to take away your ability to do that. So if you get these things complied with, then ask your probation officer. If you, I tell you what, I would be willing to let you report if you're doing what you're supposed to. I'd be willing to let you report in via Zoom, where you can top dial in your phone or whatever, check in, we'll talk about it. If you get these things complied with, then talk to your probation officer, and they give you information about that. If you don't meet these things, I don't want to see you in person.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, Deputy Martinez is gonna bring this to you, sign it, set the reset dates on it, and then you be going on, free to go. Stephanie Goss. Stephanie Goss here.
Motion to.
Rebecca Hunter. Hunter, this is file number CR 2228, Sanctions court hearing. Looks like you got on probation in August of last year. You have an 8-year term. Says that you are delinquent on your community service, shows that you haven't worked an hour of that. You haven't taken your drug and your education class,
I'm actually taking it currently, sir.
and you're delinquent in your probation fees and your court fees. Can you tell me about community service? Have you worked it?
I hate to give you a bunch of excuses, mainly just transportation is my issue. I don't have a driver's license. I am currently, working on paying on a ticket to get my license back. And Mr. Chuck, who I am doing my drug evaluation course currently with right now, referred me to Judge Shin to get an occupational license. And I did recently buy a vehicle so I can work and, do community service, sir.
If you don't have transportation, do you still have friends and family?
I do not.
You don't have any friends or family?
I do not.
So you're all alone?
Well, since I started this probation, when you do a life change, you kind of leave that behind. So yes, I'm alone. But
I was just gonna ask if you had anybody that'd be willing to give you a ride. You're telling me going forward, you think that you'll have that taken care of?
absolutely.
All right, this is what I need done before you come back on August 10th. You gotta pay $65 for your probation. Department, you gotta pay $65 for your court collections. You gotta work 24 hours in community service. 24 hours is a lot, you need to wait till the last minute. Okay, now you can get 40 to 50 hours at first Monday, one weekend. Okay, so someone who's delinquent, like, it's a good way to get caught up real quick. Okay. So. All right, so it's back on August 10th, 65 for probation, 65 for court collection for 24 hours. Well, Deputy Goss. Goss. This is your sanctions court hearing. Here's you got on probation October of last year for a period of 2 years. For the state jail felony offense of abandoning or endangering a child. It's like you were convicted of that offense. Since being on probation, my notes indicate that you not worked a single hour of community service. Not scheduled your evaluation. Not taking your code within the class, you're not taking life skills. In your. I don't think that you paid us a red cent towards anything, is all that right?
I've been paying, but I don't think I've paid anything to Van Zandt County. I think I've just paid Kaufman County.
So is Coffin County happy with you?
I'm not sure.
Van Zandt County happy with you? So what's your plan? Not do anything on your Van Zandt County pays what you do, something like about that place? So
Yeah, I was struggling getting back on my feet and I finally got a stable living place, transportation. And I'm working it well where I have time to do community service. I've got to make a payment today for my probation. And then,
What do you think today?
I'm not exactly sure. I just should have check in this card today. It's my first check from this job.
What else?
I've got to get with Miss Carolyn about my classes. There was some issues with me transferring probation to Lamar County and then getting transferred back. And I lost my paperwork from all the shuffling. But I spoke to Miss Carolyn yesterday and she's supposed to have all the work for me today to get signed up for my class.
Worried that you're not gonna be able to file your probation conditions. So right now, you're so far delinquent that you're gonna have to pay $200 a month on your court collections. You're gonna pay $300 every month, 100 to probation, 200 to the court, and work 12 hours of community service. That's just expire on time. That's just to avoid being extended, which costs you more time and more money. So you've got a narrow window of opportunity here, which to try to self-correct. And I understand you fall on hard times, but when you took probation, you told me you could do it.
And I can afford $300 a month now.
So what I'm gonna do, Ms. Goss, I'm going to have you come back on August 10th. And what I expect to have been paid is $100 to probation, 200 to your court collections, and 12 hours of community service. And I'm gonna UA you today.
Okay.
All right, sign that, and then we do the probation. Get the word, I don't have my interpreter yet, but we can go ahead and switch our position. See her yet, maybe a few minutes. don't have one.
I don't have world.
Interpretation. You should read it.
Just a second.
Yes, ma'am, can you hear me? Unless you're in my ears. No, not yet, it looks like. Well, there may be a channel issue going on there. Good evening. The defendant,
See.
excellent, great, thank you. Okay, so we're looking further, you're ready to write the identification code. We'll go ahead and identify yourself, and your license number to the record. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will make a true translation of the statements of the court, the question of counsel, and the testimony to be given by the witness, in the matter now on trial, to the best of your skill and judgment, so help you God. All right, this is cause number CR 23-72, state of Texas, which is Jose A. Sanchez Robles. Mr. Robles, if you'll raise your right hand, I'm going to place you under oath. Sir, do you swear that the testimony you give to the court today, will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
See.
All right, thank you. All right. Mr. Harrison, before we go any further, let me go over the plea agreement to make sure we're all on the same page. It appears that Mr. Robles would be pleading guilty today to a lesser included offense, driving while intoxicated, a class A misdemeanor, indicating blood alcohol concentration greater to 0.15. This punishment would be assessed upon conviction at 45 days in the county jail, in which he would receive credit for 1 day served. He would have 44 days to serve. He would submit himself to the Banting County Jail on Friday, July 21st, 2023 at 7 p.m. to serve the remaining time on the jail sentence. In addition, he would have court costs of $270, a $1,500 fine, $60 in restitution, $35 in reimbursement. Is that your understanding of the plea agreement? Yes, I believe after the fine was $60 restitution and $35 reimbursement fees. Mr. Harrison, is that your understanding?
That is our understanding.
All right, so Mr. Robles, I'm gonna ask you at this time, are you a United States citizen who reads, writes, and speaks English?
Your Honor, he does not read, write, or understand the English language. We've had a Spanish speaker in my office, so paperwork with him, as well as the discovery, as well as answering any questions you have. Obviously, that this is.
Is he a United States citizen?
Could we defer answering that question?
By the deference, it become incumbent upon me to admonish him that if he's not a United States citizen or lawful permanent resident, that his conviction in this case today could have adverse impact on his status in this country, or re-entry should be.
I understand that, Your Honor. We've also gone over the case law which relates to the
Okay. All right, Mr. Robles, have you ever been diagnosed with any type of mental condition? But you know, you'll have to answer a lot of them. Can't just shake his head.
No.
And in this case, you're represented by your attorney, Mr. J. Brett Harrison. Are you pleased with Mr. Harrison in his representation of you?
See,
Is there anything about the paperwork that you've read over and signed today with Mr. Harrison that you do not understand?
todo bien.
All right, then, Mr. Robles, you heard me read the plea agreement earlier. Is that your agreement and what you want the court to approve today? Okay. All right, then, Mr. Robles, you are charged with driving while intoxicated offense. You have convicted in this matter of a class A misdemeanor. The range of punishment for that offense would be sentence not to exceed the maximum 365 days in the county jail, nor a fine more than $4,000. I find at this time that the proposed plea agreement fits lawfully within that range of punishment. So with that understanding, Mr. Robles, I ask you at this time, how do you plead guilty to driving while intoxicated with a blood alcohol concentration greater than or equal to 0.15?
Sí.
Well, I need to know, does he plead guilty or not guilty?
Sí, soy culpable.
Are you pleading guilty because you are guilty of committing that crime? You're not telling me that you're pleading guilty just to get a plea agreement. Is that correct?
Soy culpable.
All right. Mr. Robles, has anyone forced you or pressured you to plead guilty to this crime?
Nadie. No.
All right, then the court will accept the defendant's plea of guilt at this time. Mr. Harrison, is there any objection to the stipulation of evidence?
No.
All right, the stipulation of evidence is admitted. Court takes judicial notice of the defendant's judicial suspension. Is there any further to state?
No, Your Honor.
Any further to the defense? All right, then upon review of the stipulation of evidence, the court finds that there is sufficient evidence to convict Mr. Robles of this class A misdemeanor offense. Or convicts him of driving while intoxicated. The blood alcohol concentration greater than or equal to 0.15, or assesses his sentence. Pursuant to the plea agreement at 45 days in the county jail. He receives credit for 1 day of service. He is ordered to serve the remainder of the jail sentence beginning July 21st, 2023 by 7 p.m. Court orders a $1,500 fine, $60 restitution, $270 in court costs, and $35 in reimbursement fees. In addition, there is a 6-month driver's license suspension, with which he will receive credit for the LLR suspension. AL, Feel better, because I hadn't seen how. All right, Mr. Robles, you hereby remain into the custody of the sheriff, so you can carry out the terms and conditions of his sentence. Mr. Robles, do you understand that if you do not appear on July 21st, 2023 at 7 p.m. to serve the remainder of your jail sentence, that would result in additional new criminal charges? Do you understand that? You understand also that when you appear at the jail, and you need to appear with some form of photographic ID so that they can make sure that you are the proper person serving the sentence. If you fail to appear with proper form of identification, they're going to refuse you entrance into the jail. Do you understand that? Do you have any concerns about that? All right, then, Mr. Robles, I'm gonna ask that you come forward with Deputy Martinez. He's gonna take your fingerprint. And after that time, we will give you copies of this for your records, so you can take it with you to the jail on July 21st of this year at 7. Yeah. Bill, I think I get the privilege of seeing you again this afternoon. Is that correct? Looking forward to it. Thank you so much. Appreciate you working with us this morning. Good day. Write down the date for, Mr. Fairchild. The date that I said. In August.
Yes.
10th. All right, this is cause number CR 21-398, CR 22-51, State versus Royce, let's take Wise. All right, so what's the announcement? I mean, you're 7-3 last week, or week before, we're 7 plea today. Mr. Herring, you're indicating that there is no plea today, is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, so how do we go from setting it for plea to no plea?
We were unable to work out several of the details, Your Honor.
I would assume that when we set it for a plea agreement, that everything was already worked out, and that's why we set it for plea. Is that am I wrong about that?
Well, we had just gotten the plea papers, we were reviewing them, Your Honor, and we were unable to come back. Final conclusion, that was acceptable.
So there was something in the plea papers that was not the plea agreement.
Well, it wasn't our understanding of the agreement, Your Honor.
Right, and does your client understand that by rejecting the plea, the court's just gonna set him for a jury trial? And there will be no plea bargaining after today?
Our client understands that he'll be set for a jury trial, yes, Your Honor.
He understands that there's no plea bargaining after today. That means if the state comes back and they make a lower offer, I'm going to say no, plea bargaining, no.
He will understand that now, Your Honor.
That's why I understand that.
Yes, sir.
Day is the day. If there's gonna be an agreement, day is that day. We pass the day, don't come back to me saying, Judge, I want to plea out for Friday before, don't come here and sit and look at 100 people. That are gonna decide your day and say, hey, I want to take that plea agreement now. Because there will be no plea bargaining after today. I've reached out to state numerous times. Give you all the opportunities to stay all agreements. You're telling me that you're done.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, the court will set Mr. White for jury selection. He will not go to trial this day, Mr. White. However, you will begin the rolling trial docket, then you'll be placed on the list. Once your name gets to the top 10, you'll be noticed along with your attorney, but you're gonna have to appear every month to get a reset. Mr. Harry's not gonna be required to be here until the case gets to the top 10. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So I'm gonna have you begin that process on July 31st. We'll report here at the courthouse as you come in. My staff members will be downstairs. They'll check you in. Pretrial release officer might be there. They'll give you the reset date, paperwork, sign off, going back to business. You stay in the line, pretrial release, you go back to business. You violate pretrial release, we'll have a hearing between now and then. If you miss your appearance on jury selection day, the court's just going to issue one.
Yes, sir.
All right, clear?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Just so Your Honor, the deal is that you will notify me when I'm in the top 10 and I need to appear for that.
Yes, sir. Yeah, once cases hit the top 10, then I'll, my staff will email that out to all attorneys and bonds.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, you have a notice of appearance slip that you filled out, Mr. Harry. I think you fill out. The date is July 31st for jury selection. That'll be at 8:30 a.m. July 31st, 8:30 a.m. Mr. Harry, let's put on the record, what was the offer that your client rejected today, so that we have that on record, that way, if there's ever an allegation that it wasn't communicated to put that on record.
It was 15 years,
That's,
with a $2,500 fine.
that's 15 years, case,
That's on that session charge.
session charge, and what about the assault that
It would be dropped.
he dropped?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's correct, Judge. Full agreement was to dismiss one of the two enhancement charges. Dropping his punishment range down to a 2nd-degree range. And then 15 years TDC, $2,500 fine, and dismiss the assault.
There any enhancement provisions that the state will be seeking that could elevate this later?
Yes, Your Honor, the case of shoots trial, the indictment includes 2 enhancement paragraphs.
Minimum 25, maximum 1.
Yes.
All right, and Mr. Harry, you've communicated that to your client, and your client understands that was.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll see you back on July 31st.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Campbell, then what I need you to do for next time we sort forward to get you back online with your edition. So I need you to register for that bid program.
Yes, sir.
And you pay $65 for probation, $125 in court collections. I need 10 hours of community service.
Sir, I've been taking care of a 88-year-old father. Mentioned. I have a letter stating where I've been. I'm trying to get my community service. Moved into that, if you would consider my community service being taken care of.
You'll need to check with the probation department on that.
They, okay. I thought I was under the impression that I had to talk to you about it.
Is that what he's wanting, he's saying that he's volunteering to taking care of his family member during hospice. He wants that to be considered.
I have a statement from the hospice organization. He's got to have care just about 24 hours a day.
You talked to Mr. Waddell, trying to set something up.
I'm sorry, man.
Let's do this. I'm gonna reset you, Mr. Baker. I want those things, 10 hours of community service. If they agree to it, great. If they don't agree to it, then you need to figure out how to get that done. So I'm gonna have you come back on August 10th. I'll let you and Mr. Waddell talk about that. Just meet me out in the office. Amber Morphus. This is CR 22-85. All right, Ms. Morphus, looks like you're here on your theft of property probation. You got on in April of last year. You're on deferred. State jail felony is a minimum 6 months, maximum 2 years in prison. It looks like you got started on your community service hours, but you've fallen off, you're delinquent, 120 hours. Delinquent in your probation fees and your court fees. What is CE? Taking CE. Apparently I need to talk to the education. So you need to sign up for your cognitive education class. Currently taking that, okay. What's your plan on your community service?
Do it.
What about your fees? If I ordered you to do 65 in probation, 50 to the court, try to get you caught up, that's.
Yeah, just hard work, not get paid.
So I'll tell you what we'll do is I'll reset you until August 10th. Okay. All right, so this, more of this, I need 65 for probation, $50 to court collections, and 24 hours of community service waiting. And I expect that to be done the week before August 10th. Okay. James O'Brien. CR 20-301. All right, Mr. O'Brien, you're here on your possession of controlled substance, state jail felony charge. You got on in 2021. You got a 5-year term. You're set to expire in March of 26. Looks like you're delinquent on some money. Looks like you started on your community service. You've fallen behind in that considerably. You're delinquent 235 hours in that. Not taking your drug offender education class. What's your plan to get back in the fun?
As far as community service, I work 6 days a week. 8 to 5 every day. So I'm trying to figure out how I can get my community service done. Any volunteer work I do is celebrating country. Some of the things that my church volunteers ask for volunteers to do. I don't know if that would count for any of it.
It could if they were on the approved list of places to do community service. So that's
Bad part.
thing the church has to do.
But as far as fees, I just gotta back on my feet, trying to see.
You know, you're gonna have to figure out how to work in community service, but that's a requirement. You gotta do it. Condition. I understand working 6 days a week, but you might have to find a place that can allow you to do community service after hours. All right, this is our goal, okay? Need you to pay $65 to probation. This is gonna be before August 10th. $60 to court collections. You're gonna have to work 10 hours of community service. All I'm doing is telling you what you already know. You're already ordered to do. But I'm not ordering you to do these things. I'm telling you to do these things because you don't. It's gonna be violation. You're looking at up to 2 years and then day for day, no parole, prison facilities, you don't. Okay. All right, Mr. O'Brien, I'm gonna come back on August 10th, sign this, and then we're gonna give you a copy. Ashley Olson. All right, this is Sanctions CR 2302. Ms. Olds, you are delinquent in your community service. not taking your drug offender education class. Delinquent in your community service, probation fees, court fees. Looks like you're set to expire in March of 26. Been on since March of 21. If you don't pay $130, $132.50 to probation every month, $100 to court collection, you're not gonna be able to finish on. It's, you either face the chance of getting revoked or having to be extended. And extension means more time of your life on probation, or your money on probation, you those. What's your plan to get caught up?
My only excuse is I work 60, 70 hours a week. I'm the GM at the Burger King Coffee. I run 2 different stores. I know it's not an excuse, but that is the reason why I haven't done any community service. I did do it last weekend with First Monday. I did 40 hours. I paid $100. So just pay double. I've taken off for the next 3 months to knock out my community service and get it completely done with.
Okay, so you have a plan on that?
Sir,
So you have a plan on that?
I do.
It's good, okay. And what about the money?
I'm gonna pay $100 out of each check. Get it caught back up.
Problem is you're gonna have to pay $232 a month to get caught up. That's not not true. That's to expire on time.
I bonus every quarter. So I plan on taking this bonus and putting more than half of it on it.
All right, so you know that you're gonna have to make this a priority in order to get it done in life. That's gonna be inconvenient, it's not what you wanna do, but it's a fact of life for you, understand that you agreed to do it. Okay, so I'm gonna reset you for August 22nd, I need to see $133 to probation, $100 to court collection, and 10 hours of community service. If you can go in and do the first Monday and knock it out 40 hours at a time, that's great. The minimum I'm saying is 10 hours. That's what you're already going for.
Just want to get it done and over with.
I would agree. Get it over and done with. You. Let's see, you had, you only have 110 to go.
Yeah,
So, 3 months, every first thing, you're done.
2.5 months.
Well, it's gonna be happening first Monday weekend.
Right.
All right, so that's what we need to see out of you, on August 22nd. Now, remember, you know, today's July 6th. August 6th is gonna come, start a new month. So you're gonna be expected to do this every month, not every 45 days, or you're gonna fall behind. Okay, I'm giving you until August 22nd, just I'm spreading out all these sanctions for over my whole documents. We don't have 25 on Monday. Okay?
Is there any way I can do the virtual thing?
If it was just money, yes, but community service. I'll tell you what, you do it and then you ask your probation officer,
I will.
they'll call me. If they tell me that you're in compliance and you're doing everything, then I'll consider it.
All right, thank you.
All right, go ahead and sign here and give your copy. So I'm swinging a little notes. Mr. Perry. All right, Mr. Perry, you're here for Sanctions Court, also was here from 1973. Possession of controlled substance, you got a 5-year term, in October of last year. You're on deferred, range of punishment for a 2nd-degree felony, so that's. Which is gonna be 2 to 20, so I'm just repeating all the things you already know from our plea agreement hearing. Been on probation for quite a while now. It tells me you've not worked 1 hour of community service, not taking your drug and your education. Delinquent probation fees, you're delinquent your court fees. Are you trying to go to prison?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I just caught up. I paid this morning before I came to court, caught up on my fees anyway. I plan on starting my community services Saturday.
What's your plan on community service?
Work every Saturday in Edgewood there. Turkey Park. I don't have a vehicle right now.
You have someone that's gonna be able to take you down there?
Well, I can walk down there. I live there in town.
Okay. All right, so we gotta get you back, gotta get back in compliance.
Yes, sir. I plan on it.
See what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna bring you back on August 8th. And we're gonna do, these are the 3 things I need to see, from you, Mr. Perry. I need to see $65 to your probation department, $60 to court collections, and 10 hours of community service.
So
Okay, you can do more community service, do it. Okay, because you're way behind. The more you do, the quicker you get caught up. All right, Mr. Perry, sign this, we'll give you a yellow copy, we'll see you back on the page, okay?
So
David Reed. All right, Mr. Reed, let's see, here on your sanctions board for aggravated assault. A family member, household member, weapon, 1st-degree felony, Deferred, that's 5 to 99 or lie. You don't excessive legal supervision, that's what you're looking at. Looks like you're delinquent, you started off okay, community service, what you falling behind on that. You falling behind on your money, what's going on and what's your plan to get it fixed?
may I ask you, Honor, what's behind my money?
It says you're delinquent $130 to court collections. Says the last payment was in April. You got a $1,000 balance.
I have a receipt at home that said 858, sir. I make my payment every month. I'll be sure to do that, you know.
Yeah, just get that cleared up.
It's 130, you said?
I'm showing $130 delinquent over here to
Courthouse?
court collections.
Okay, I just paid, my girlfriend had to drop off the money the other day up here, and that's when I had my receipt, and it said it was under 1,000. I've always tried to maintain it, I'm not trying to fail in any kind of way. I'm behind on my community service. I've been working most of the weekends. My girlfriend works at Sonic. I take care of both of my babies when she's at work. So I work at a racetrack on Saturday nights. My plan, I live in town in Edgewood, and I'll do all my community service every weekend until it's caught up, whatever it takes.
Are you off on the weekends?
In the mornings I am. I have to go in to work at 5 o'clock. So there's no excuse why I cannot do it. I've been having ride issues, but there's no excuse.
All right, so you've got a plan, you're gonna follow that plan, you're gonna get back in.
I will, sir. I promise you.
All right, Mr. Reed, when you come back, you're gonna come back on August 10th. I need to see 65 to probation, 65 to court collections, so 10 hours of community service. Okay.
Sir, thanks, sir.
And then just get your receipts and all that. I don't need to see it, but just make sure that your records are showing what the probation department did.
How would I figure out what payments was missed by date?
So you can go over to the probation department and ask to talk with them, show them your receipts, and see what they're showing in their accounting systems, and that'll help you reconcile that.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Good. Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate you.
You're welcome, sir. Ronnie Roberts. CR 16492. All right, Mr. Roberts, looks like you're delinquent in your community service. Gotta get you going on that. You're behind a little bit on court collections. What's your plan? You started off pretty good in your community service, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
75 hours, so you know what that's like.
Yes, sir.
Unfortunately, you got 400 hours total. You got 225 to go. You only got a few years left to do that. Have you fallen off community service?
Yes, sir. At the beginning of the year, I started having some health issues with my lungs and pulmonary diseases. And they been going back and forth with the doctor. And they diagnosed me with COPD, so I'm having breathing issues. We're trying to get that under control. Monday, I paid up my court costs and all that. And I've been talking with Officer Bryant. I'm gonna do 2 full days at first Monday. I'm gonna do 2 full weekends at first Monday in the cooler months as they come up. And then I'm gonna buy I think she said I can buy 100 hours at $12.50 an hour. That was our plan that we had discussed prior to this.
Can you actually do the first Monday with your COPD?
We was gonna try to do it in the cooler months, like maybe at the end of in September and November. That's why I fell back on my community service, trying to figure out what's going on with me. I've been hospitalized twice.
Okay.
And I've got most of the medical papers with me.
Right, if the probation office needs to see that, they'll ask
Yes.
for it. So I'm gonna do, Mr. Robertson, we'll bring you back on August 10th. And I want to see 65 to probation, 65 to the court for collections. And then 10 hours a month of community service. And you may, if you are having problems with the manual labor or stuff like that, then you may check into places where you can do office stuff, filing, clerical, things of that nature. Until you get that resolved. Okay.
Yes.
All right, any problems with any of that?
No.
All right, we'll see you back on August 10th. Have you sign here with the big copies.
Appreciate it.
Lane Swan. All right, Mr. Swanson, you're here on your 3rd-degree felony offense of assault with a family or household member. You've been on probation since January of last year. This thing tells me that you haven't worked any community service out of your 40 hours. I'm not thinking any of that. But you're delinquent. Well, actually, I look like you're okay on your court collection, so it looks like it's mainly community service.
Correct, yes, sir.
This issue.
Sir,
What's the issue on that?
I drive 18 wheelers. I drive 18 wheelers, so I'm gone typically Sunday nights through Friday evenings, even sometimes Saturday mornings. Ultimately, whenever I get back Friday night or Saturday, I'm just tired and just sleep through my alarm. That's not a good excuse, so I apologize for that. I did, however, speak with my boss that we're gonna make sure that I can be back Friday afternoons at least to where I can start doing better on my community service. June 10th, however, I was scheduled to do community service at the Grants Lane Rodeo grounds. However, my grandpa passed away that morning, so I was in Frankston helping my grandma and taking care of his stuff. So was unfortunately missed that community service.
Does your boss want you driving the truck and working?
Yes, sir, he does.
So is he committed to helping you be back on time to where you can take care of your probation conditions?
Yes, sir. He has also helped me, whenever I fell behind on my fees for a little while, he helped me pay it off to get it caught up so I would be able to work. Whatnot. So he's fully prepared to help me out to make sure I can get things taken care of.
Because he understands that if you don't get things taken care of, you're not gonna be driving anything.
Yes, sir. And I make a lot of his money, so
That's-
he's doing what he can.
All right, well, then you gotta do what you have to do.
Yes, sir.
And if he starts telling you you can't do these things, you're gonna have to decide liberty or money. Liberty.
I've had to decide that before when it came to my family, and he didn't like that, but ultimately he said, "Hey, I'm sorry." So I'm positive I will be able to do what I need to do to get this taken care of.
All right, I'm gonna bring you back on August 8th. And what I wanna see is $65 to the probation department, $125 for collections, and at least 10 hours of community service. That's the bare minimum you're already ordered to do anyway.
Yes, sir. I'll do this Saturday as well as next, and every Saturday if need to help get it caught up.
The more you do, the better, the quicker you get caught up, the quicker you don't have to limit years to get caught up.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Swat, are you ready? Yes, sir. Mr. Higgerton? All right, this is file number CR 42-105. State of Texas versus Contrell Michael Hickerson. Mr. Hickerson, if you'll raise your right hand, place your oath, sir, you swear that the testimony you give to the court today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Okay, so are you in? Speak up loudly and clearly for me. Mr. Hickerson, are you a United States citizen who reads, writes, and speaks English?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever been diagnosed with any type of mental condition?
No, sir.
In this case, you are represented by your attorney, Mr. Nolan White. Are you pleased with Mr. White and the work presented?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions about any of the paperwork that you've read over time?
No, sir.
Mr. White, do you believe that Mr. Hickerson is competent and he's entering into this agreement intentionally, knowingly, voluntarily? Also, have you explained to me the advantages and disadvantages of deferred adjudication?
Your Honor, I believe Mr. Hickerson is competent, he understands the procedure, any here today. I don't believe he waived the time, someone can tell him he can voluntarily. And Your Honor, I have gone over the advantages and disadvantages of entering into the plea agreement for the first adjudication, also the violates any further condition for home hearing, proving that it is in fact violating term conditions, probation, or we had an entire range of punishment. And that's up to 10 years in penitentiary and $5,000.
Thank you, Mr. White. All right, Mr. Hickerson, as Mr. White said, you are charged with a third-degree felony offense of prohibited weapon, a It does carry a range of punishment not less than 2 years or more than 10 years in prison, and a fine not to exceed $10,000. If the court approves the agreement today, which appears to be that you would plead guilty to that prohibited weapon charge, the state's recommending the court review the evidence, but not convict you today, place you on community supervision for 4 years, assess a fine, court costs, reimbursement fees. Also, the court would be dismissing and taking into consideration possession of marijuana charge, and there would be a weapon forfeiture as part of this agreement. The court approves that agreement and you're placed on community supervision, as Mr. White said, if at any point during that 4 years you violate any of the terms of these conditions that you've read over and signed today, the state could file a motion to adjudicate your guilt, that means to convict you. Could ask the court to conduct a hearing and determine whether or not you have violated. And if the state proves to the court that you violated, I can do a number of things, including convicting you, revoking that community supervision, assessing your punishment from that minimum 2 years all the way up to the maximum 10 years. You understand that? Yes, sir. Right. Understanding all that, you still wish to go forward with your plea, is that correct? Yes, sir. All right, Mr. Hickerson, then how do you plead to prohibited weapon? Guilty. Are you pleading guilty to that crime because you are guilty of that crime? Does anyone threaten or force you to plead guilty today? No, sir. Or will accept the defendant's plea of guilt. Mr. White, any objections, stipulation of evidence? We have one objection. All right, stipulation of evidence is submitted. Board takes judicial notice of the defendant's judicial confession. Is there anything further from the state? Anything further from the defense? No. All right, then based on the stipulation of evidence before the court and the judicial confession, the court finds that there is sufficient evidence to convict Mr. Hickerson of this offense in the court jail. Follow the plea agreement or defers a finding of guilt, places Mr. Hickerson on 4 years of community supervision, assesses a $2,500 fine, dismisses under section 1245, possession of marijuana less than 2 ounces. Is there a cause number or VA number associated with that possession of marijuana for identification purposes? All of them. Board in addition will forfeit the black Glock semi-automatic model 2340 caliber pistol seized in conjunction with this offense. Court assesses court costs of $290 and reimbursement fees of $9. I'll need the state to sign. State report. Calling.
21.
Yes, man. You ever been convicted of a felony?
No, sir.
You ever had to go to prison?
No, sir.
You ever spent probation on any case?
No, sir.
This your very first one?
Yes, sir.
You understand it's a serious one.
Yes, sir.
You understand that sentence of 2 to 10, it looms over your head.
Yes,
So you complete your probation. You're a very young man. What do you want to do with your life?
I graduate college next year, so
So you're in college right now.
yes, sir.
Where do you go to school at?
Southern Baton Rouge in Louisiana.
What do you study?
Pre-law political science.
Pre-law and political science.
Yes, sir.
It's kind of a crash course, an introduction to law, isn't it?
Right.
Not the way that you want to get it, right? So you have plans of graduating college and doing something in potential law or
Yeah.
political science.
Yes, sir. We have our own law school at Southern Baton Rouge. I plan on going to law school if everything works out.
You understand that, this is a great opportunity to get that behind you, to correct the mistake that you made. And to put it behind you and move on with life, and be a productive member of society. But
Yes, yes, sir.
I hate to see, young man at 20 years of age, who's in the middle of college education, have that go the wrong way. Right?
Yes, sir.
So everyone in this room is hoping that you're gonna take this serious, that you're gonna do what you're supposed to do. You're gonna take advantage of what, Ms. Curry and Mr. White did for you here. Understand?
Yes, sir.
Is there a number associated with that possession of marijuana? If not, that's okay. I just.
Yes, Your Honor. It's DA control number DA 2021 1232.
Well. All right, I'm just gonna write that into the check. All right, Mr. Dickerson. Words. I remand you to the custody of the Vandy County Community Supervision and Corrections Department, so they can carry out the terms and conditions of the sentence. I'm gonna come over here, you can be appointed with Deputy Martinez, after that, you talk with the probation officers. Okay.
Okay.
All right, that's all I have. Twice, another one that. That had a wage. Is that on this one? We'll have to get him back over here, let's get more than indicated that he has to be in custody. So I think we'll reset that, and once we get over here, we'll take the control. We don't get over much, see to the screen. Okay. It's, let me tell you what, let's go ahead, if you guys can, let's go ahead and just set it today. And we'll try to. So let's set it, August 22nd. Open. He felt here last time here, and so I had notified back. Yes, I think I announced earlier on the record about Ms. Jacobs. Yeah, her that waiver was reached on August 22nd. So we're going to set Mr. Green that same day, August 22nd. We will have to develop a here. One thing that I put on. 8 days. So far, this bill counts. It's over the range count. Judge Smith, range count, Judge, Judge Woodcut, I guess, had that. All right, Mr. Kearns, let's see, this is CR 23-24. Let's see, Mr. Kearns, you got on deferred adjudication for class 8 misdemeanor back in February of this year. Let's see, looks like. Looks like the issue is just community service. What's going on with that?
There's, I guess, a misunderstanding on it of what was supposed to be for community service. And I talked to Heath, my high, and he's going to be filing motions next week to try and get some clarification.
What's the clarification? Or what's the miscommunication?
I had no clue that there was any community service in the plea agreement. Mr. Hyde was apparently unaware as when I asked him about community service, he said, no, there's none of that. He also told two other attorneys that I work with that there was no community service. And the day when we left the court, one of the other attorneys, legal secretaries, asked him if I had to do community service. And he said, no, he doesn't have any of that.
I'm not sure what the confusion is because you and I both signed this of the community supervision that say you're gonna do 160 hours. It's condition O.
And I've got the transcript during the court. He said that y'all have signed it and sworn to it, but nothing's filled out.
Yeah, I'm reading got the transcript here. That's not in reference to community supervision. It says you're going to need to fill out the plea papers regarding the plea and the level. None of this is filled out. You'll sign it, sworn to it, but there's nothing filled out. So that's a demonstrance as to what the plea agreement is. So that just means y'all signed a bunch of paperwork that had nothing written into it. And I stopped and gave it back, and it was completed and then turned in. It doesn't have anything to do with community supervision conditions.
Your Honor, I absolutely want to do everything I can to get this behind me. So, I have the opportunity for Mr. Hyde to look into this further and get it behind us.
So let me go over some things with you. So anytime I do a plea agreement, such as you see in the transcript here, I don't read all of the conditions that are going to be done. I don't do that for numerous reasons. One being, saving time, your time, court's time, judicial economy, those things. Whenever there is a waiver of certain conditions of community supervision, which are standard, and community service is a standard one, then that's always going to be highlighted in very clear in the plea agreement that this specific one is being waived. It's walked through, it's initial, and we kind of go through a painstaking process to make sure that everybody is clear on what we're doing. I don't see that in your case, that there was any agreement by mistake, or that there was any request by Mr. Hyde or yourself to waive the community service provisions. And that's why it appears in the conditions of community supervision. And going through the plea process, I'm clear about, have you read over it? Do you understand everything? Give us a chance to talk about it. If you don't have a agreement, we don't understand. And the fact that you signed this, I signed this, tells me that on that day, you read through it, you understood it. And I understood that you would be doing what's in these conditions, and one of these conditions is community service. So you're welcome to talk to Mr. Hyde or any other attorney and have them file whatever you want them to file. But in the meantime, you're gonna have to comply with your conditions. One of the conditions is gonna be community service. And a minimum 10 hours a month. So. And that seems to be the only issue that you have, so, I don't know, do you work, do you have what kind of work schedule?
I'm self-employed ranching.
Self-employed ranching. So there's 160 hours. And I know ranching is busy work, I know you're doing that all the time, so I'm just gonna throw this out there. If you did four first Monday weekends, you'd be done. Done. So you get 40 or 15. 50. You get 15 next week. You don't even have to do the full 4. I'm just saying, if you didn't want to spend one Saturday a month with ranching, you might only have one Saturday a month that you could do that. Might not be able to take a whole weekend away and do that, but I'm gonna leave that up to you. I'm just throwing that out there to you, ways to knock it out fast. Otherwise, 10 hours a month until you do 160. Okay, so in 1 year, you're only doing 120. So you could easily take care of it that way as well. It's gonna be up to you.
Yes, sir.
And then, so what I'm gonna do, Mr. Burns, is I'm gonna order you to come back in August. I wanna see 10 hours of community service. In the meantime, if you want Mr. Hyde to file something or try to renegotiate your plea, whatever, you have the right to do that. I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna be an uphill battle for you. Might not be worth your time and money doing that versus spending the time doing your community service. So something for you to consider when you think. Okay. Any questions about that?
No, sir.
Your Honor, the court also ordered Mr. Burns to answer probation's questions with regard to the information that they need prior to administrating.
What is that issue, Mr. Burns?
Prescription drugs. They've asked me what I take on a routine daily basis, and that's a statin drug. I have some other things that I take for arthritis, for kind of the as needed type in Smith County. They said, no, we don't need those. If you get called on a random UA, bring anything you've taken in the last 4 or 5 days, prescription wise with you. So
Are you supervising?
Yes, sir.
So you understand though that the request for you to disclose what you're taking is so that if your urine sample comes back and it's showing a positive, that if there's an explanation for it, it keeps them from writing down that you have violated, keeps them from believing that you're using controlled substances. If they know what you're taking, they can attribute that to a positive result. You understand that?
Yeah, and they just told me to bring anything that I've taken with me that I have a prescription for the day I come from the for the UAs.
So what is your concern? You don't want to tell anybody what it is that you're taking unless you're going to be taking the UA.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what'll show up and what does it to me. I'm not that familiar.
you understand that as long as you have a prescription for it, then anything that shows up that has those markers is gonna be understandable.
Yes, sir.
But if it shows up that you're on methamphetamine or cocaine or something like that. Probably
Somebody else did. But no, I understand. In Smith County, what they said was you could leave here and have to go to the emergency room tomorrow and have a new prescription. So they said it doesn't do us really any good to have a whole backlog of prescriptions. If you come in and have to take a UA, just bring anything you're taking with you.
So what's the issue? Is we're needing information, but Smith County's telling them they don't want it. What's
Is when he was arguing about the community service, I tried to ask him if he had any medical issues that would cause him not to be able to work community service. And he said that I wasn't allowed to ask him that because that was a violation of HIPAA rights. And so when I
so you're asking about whether or not there's an issue with community service, not UAs.
And then I, well, that also goes along with UA's prescriptions as well. And, because we asked the county if he's prescribed, how do UA leave it as providing prescriptions as well. At that time, yeah.
You had not been UA'd or you not provided.
But
So let's do this. Let's UA today. Okay, and then you disclose to them today you need 10 years off. Okay, we'll tackle it that way. And then on community service, I've ordered him to do 10 hours. He may or may not comply with that. He may or may not talk with the attorneys about that, whatever. We're gonna come back on 8/10. We'll UA today. We'll come back on 8/10 about community service. And then if there's any other issues on the UA or medical issues, then we'll take it up then. Okay. All right, so Mr. Burns, I'm gonna have you sign here where it says dependent, everyone's this is gonna bring it to you. It says I'm ready to do 10 hours of service, and then come over here and give them a UA, talk to everybody, think that you're on, okay? And let's get that established, and we'll be done. You're welcome. I'm not gonna tell you, I'm not gonna tell you what that is.
Just give me all your stuff out of your pocket schedule. If Bob said that to him, she said, just give me all your stuff because you're going into, you got kicked out of. One year coming back at 3.
Oh, yeah. So that's what she said.
She said before he came in, give me all your stuff because you're going into.
You going to jail today?
So,
Can't keep that straight.
yes, that is what she said.
So you're telling me that if they're not gonna go to Title IX, All right, Ford has summoned CR 22-219 State versus Joseph Jones for arraignment. Jones received notice, failed to appear, but his name was called, out distinctly 3 times at the courthouse with no response. Court finding is on bill with East Texas bill laws for the right to Judge Nasa. All right, that concludes this morning's criminal docket. We'll resume it at 1:50.
What do you want us?